behalf of everyone at Cooper Tires, drivers, start your Mazda engines.
And with that, 7 Mazda engines come to life. And ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go racing in the Mazda Iowa 100 presented by Cooper Tires. Who's it going to be? Award, Herta, or will a driver like Santi Urrutia come for the tail of the field?
Starting lineup, Pato Award, Colton Herta in row number 1, and ready teammates Ryan Norman and Dalton Kellett in row 2. It's the Velarde teammates of Santi Urrutia and Aaron Tielitz in row number 3, and Victor Franzoni alone in row number 4. Alignment looks good. They'll see the twin green flags, and we're racing at Iowa. Good jump, Jake, for Pato Award as he leads him into turn number 1.
He did get a good jump. Colton Herta went to the outside. Ryan Norman went down to the inside. That allowed him to all of a sudden lose spots. And it's Santi Urrutia that has battled his way up now inside of Colton Herta. So now all of a sudden a change for second position. Pato Award is the leader. Then behind him, it's Santi Urrutia.
Boy, absolutely shot out of a cannon is that driver from Uruguay as Santi Urrutia goes from 5th to 2nd on the opening lap. Down the backstretch, he clears Colton Herta by about 2 car lengths. Further back, Jake, good battle for 4th as Franzoni looks to the inside of Kellett.
Franzoni had worked his way around. He started in the back of the field, keep in mind. He's side by side with Kellett now. Aaron Tielitz was the one that really lost a lot of ground there at the beginning of the race. He has dropped back now to 7th position, and Franzoni not able to get in on Kellett. Kellett manages to hold on to that 5th spot.
Kellett does clear Franzoni down the back straightaway. It's Pato Award across the start-finish line to lead lap number 2. As we mentioned, it's Santi Urrutia who's moved into the 2nd spot. Colton Herta, though, Jake, keeping pace, just a couple car lengths as they race down the backstretch.
What we saw at the outset of the race there and still see is the fact that Urrutia was able to go more comfortably in that middle and outside line. Herta now keeps his car in turn number 4 down towards the middle of the track. Urrutia went a little bit higher. Herta now going to try to go behind him. Herta now to the bottom of the racetrack into turn number 2. Still finds himself a car length and a half back in that 2nd spot.
And those 2 drivers separated by 2 car lengths as they race into turn number 3. Everyone chasing Pato Award, who's got about an 8 car length advantage as they roar off of turn number 4. Then it is Santi Urrutia, about 3 car lengths ahead of Colton Herta. And Rob Howard, who now joins us after pre-race festivities on pit lane. Rob, not only a fantastic day, but what a fantastic start for Santi Urrutia to jump to 2nd.
You know, Nick, we really couldn't ask for much better weather. This is Chamber of Commerce for sure. Very similar to yesterday afternoon's initial practice session for drivers in Indy Lights. 74 degrees ambient temperature, track about at 105. So what they were able to learn yesterday really transcribing over to what we have here in the race. I did talk to Brian Velarde earlier. Of course, that team was very disappointed with the way the cars qualified, having worked their way up to 2nd and 3rd at the very end. Their qualifying simulation at the end of the opening practice there yesterday afternoon. But I did talk to Brian, and he said, you know what, we have really good race cars, and we know that Santi finished 2nd here this year. He likes the ovals, he likes Iowa, and not surprising to see him shot out of a cannon at the very start. He knows he needs to get in front of Herta, and he did so on the opening lap.
And Michael, you've covered Santi for a few years. We know how aggressive he is, but boy, that start was absolutely incredible.
And not only was it an aggressive start, but he put the hammer down when he got to turn 4. He dove into turn 4, then swung up right in front of Colton Herta. Colton didn't want to give up the position. Santi Urrutia made that happen. A great run for Santi thus far. Remember, he finished 2nd last year here at Iowa Speedway. The lead for Pato Award was 1 second last time by. He able to drop that down to 9/10 of a second as Santi continues to put that pressure down. But this is Pato Award's race to lose. He really wants to keep those tires fresh. He doesn't want to use them up in the early stages. And right now, with no pressure behind him, I think Pato definitely in the driver's seat.
Leader Pato Award works his way off of turn number 4 to complete lap number 9. Jake Query, best battle on the racetrack continues to be that race for 2nd place as Colton Herta uses the inside line and Santi Urrutia about a groove off the bottom.
Yeah, when they exit turn 2, then Colton Herta starts to come up. He gets in the tire tracks of Urrutia, but then when they go between 3 and 4, Herta keeps it down low. Urrutia goes high earlier. That does not allow Herta to close the gap. Still, they have about a car length and a half between the 2 of them, and then let's call it 10 car lengths between the leader Award and then Urrutia.
Mark James, that's got to be a pretty optimistic sign, not just for this 100-lap race, but for the 300-lap main event that we're going to see in IndyCar a little bit later today. To see those 2 drivers work a couple different lanes and to be able to stay about a couple car lengths apart shows that they're pretty even.
Simon Pagenaud started almost from the beginning of the first practice session yesterday, working that high line. The thing is, you got to pick your poison, because Urrutia running that higher line right now, it means he can't pull away from Colton, because Colton is taking the faster line around the racetrack. But Urrutia, from what our driver analyst Andrew Strone tells me, not using up the tires at nearly the pace that Colton Herta is. We'll see if that comes into play by lap 65 or 70.
Boy, Colton Herta washed up the racetrack big time there, Michael Young, exiting turn 2.
Not only that, but Santi Urrutia chose that bottom line going through turns 1 and 2. That's the first time he dove down there, and that helped him pick up a couple of spots as well. The lead still 1 second, but Urrutia trying to low line now these last couple of laps.
And these are 1 through 3 in the championship, running 1 through 3 on the racetrack. Paddle Award, your leader, the rookie driver from Mexico, who has just been the qualifying master so far this year with 6 pole positions after he scored the pole yesterday here at Iowa Speedway. His advantage right now over Santi Urrutia is 1.1 seconds. Urrutia enters this weekend 3rd in points, 44 markers back. So this is a big weekend. And of course, all those drivers, Jake Query, chasing Colton Herta, who's our championship leader. Herta starting to reel back in Urrutia out of turn 4.
Yeah, Herta's starting to go a little bit more the same line as Urrutia. And by that, I mean not necessarily hugging that bottom line as much. Back of the pack, by the way, there is a pass that's going to be made. That is Franzoni. He gets that spot back for the 6th position. Shuffle Teelitz back now to 7th. The leader is Pata Award. He, as you heard right there, just went past over the start-finish line. Then it's Urrutia and Herta.
Yeah, it's a really good battle for 6, as now Teelitz is going to look to the inside of Franzoni. They'll go wheel to wheel through turns 1 and 2. Franzoni's on the outside, and Teelitz on the inside. Jake, they're still side by side into 3.
Boy, I'll tell you what, exiting turn 2, it was as if both wanted to go to that middle groove. There was only room for one. Teelitz took it. That put Franzoni to the high side. Franzoni now on the high side into turn number 1. Stays there now, moves his way down. He's going to shut the door, and Franzoni now takes that spot back again from Teelitz.
Yeah, Aaron Teelitz absolutely sawing on that steering wheel on the bottom of the racetrack as both of those drivers begin to run down Dalton Kellett, who runs in the 5th position. Kellett separated by about 3 car lengths over Franzoni and another 4 back to Aaron Teelitz. Franzoni, in fact, just turned the fastest lap of this race. So, Michael, a little battling at the back of the racetrack, producing some quick laps for these drivers.
And I expected Franzoni to maybe make a move a little bit earlier or get to the front a little bit quicker, much like Santi Urrutia did, but has not been able to do that at this juncture of the race, as he's been battling back there, Martin, rear of the field with Aaron Teelitz. But Dalton Kellett in his sights was about 3 car lengths. Now Kellett able to gap at about 4 car lengths as they head down the back straightaway. But the big key right now is Pato Award is just checked out from the field. He's already gapped Santi Urrutia by 1.4 seconds that time by. So the lead keeps getting bigger and bigger for Pato Award, exactly what he wanted to do.
Yeah, you're right. Lap after lap, he's just inching ahead a little bit further. As you mentioned, 1.4 seconds is the lead for Pato Award. That translates to about 10 to 15 car lengths as they roar off of turn number 4 to complete lap 22 here at Iowa Speedway. This is a 100-lap race, Mark Janes, and for these Indy Lights drivers, those Cooper tires, they're constructed great. They put on great shows, but certainly these drivers have to be careful to manage those tires over here.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier with the line that was being run at the time. And, you know, through the first 15 laps or so, Nick, certainly no question Urrutia was babying those tires a little bit. But once he saw, as Michael pointed out, and you did as well, once he saw Colton Herta start to close a little bit, he started running that more traditional line around Iowa Speedway. It is a long, long race. And again, the last 25, very, very important. You got to take care of those Cooper tires up to that point for sure.
For more on those Cooper tires, let's go to pit lane and check in once again with Rob Howden.
Thanks, Nick. Mark definitely hitting it on the head there. I talked to a couple of the Cooper engineers down here, and they said tire deg's going to start around midway through the race. Any time around lap 50, lap 60, it's going to start going down. We'll find out which drivers are taking care of their tires. The guys running, of course, the higher line, not pushing those tires quite as much. But again, right around that 50, 60 lap, that's when the tires will start nosing over a little bit, and we'll be able to see exactly which drivers are going to have that push to the very end.
And Michael, you would think that would benefit the drivers with little experience in the Indy Lights Series, specifically Santi Urrutia and Colton Herta running in 2nd and 3rd, who have been to Iowa Speedway in this series.
And Santi Urrutia, I think, as aggressive as he is, he knows that tire degradation better than any of the other drivers here in this Indy Lights Series. Colton Herta has become a master of tire wear and managing those tires. We've seen such tremendous progress with his career here in 2018. But the one I'm really keeping an eye on is Pato O'Ward. He's talked time and time again, I really need to manage a race, and he's been unable to do it. Hasn't had a great race car. This, I think, so far has been his best outing. We have a long way to go, but Pato still with a 1.3-second lead over Santi Urrutia. That's the guy I'm going to keep an eye on just to see his line, and he always runs that higher line and really in control of this race and has a lot of time to continue to make these laps and wind them down, and I think can keep this 1-second lead.
You're listening to the Mazda Iowa 100 on the Advanced Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network, live from Iowa Speedway. Michael Young and Mark James in the booth. My name is Nick Yeoman. Jake Query topside calling the action. Rob Houghton down on pit lane as we have 72 to go in this 100-lap event here. The Indy Lights Series presented by Cooper Tires. And Mark James, for those maybe here locally or that don't follow American open wheel racing from a standpoint very closely, these are the future stars of the Verizon IndyCar Series. This Mazda Road to Indy ladder system has really produced some incredible talent over the years, and you look no further than our defending Verizon IndyCar Series champion in Joseph Newgarden.
Yeah, you know, Max Schultz, Indy Lights, Matthias Lace, Indy Lights, Joseph Newgarden, Indy Lights, and the list goes on and on and on. Certainly we've had the influx of the Alexander Rossies and Robert Wickens, and we welcome them certainly with open arms. But I think the cool thing now is to not only be able to follow these drivers from USF 2000 to Pro Mazda to Indy Lights. We've had them in the booth throughout the course of this year and last. But I think it's equally as impressive the number of teams now, like Carlin Racing and Hukos Racing and others that are moving up. We saw changes in personnel. We saw crew members and engineers and team principals start moving up through the series along with those drivers. And just in the last couple of years, we've started to see the influx of teams now. That's one of the reasons for the low car count this year. It's kind of a perfect storm. That's all been well documented. But certainly all aspects of the Mazda Road to Indy are working pretty well as far as I can see in terms of getting drivers to the top run of the ladder.
With 67 to go, Pato O'Ward is your leader. That deficit has ballooned now to 1.8 seconds. Santi Urrutia runs in second. Colton Herta is third. Ryan Norman runs in the fourth position. Dalton Kellett is fifth. And Jake Query, that battle for sixth. It's towards the back of the pack, but these points are oh so valuable. Victor Franzoni and Aaron Tielitz kind of rubber banding as they set up for turn number one.
Yeah, and Franzoni was really giving a lot to Dalton Kellett in terms of pushing him, and Kellett all of a sudden was able to get himself a little bit of a gap. That's for the fifth position. Then you wait back to Franzoni. Right now, Kellett, Franzoni, and then Tielitz pretty evenly spaced throughout. Now, part of that, as you guys talked about, might just be the different ways in which each driver is trying to preserve those tires themselves. Tielitz now starting to get a run off of turn number 2, but just as they get onto the straight, that allows Franzoni to try to get that gap back.
Yep, it's about a 4 to 5 car length gap between those two drivers running in the 6th and 7th position. Honestly, Michael Young, a lot of these cars evenly spaced out as we kind of hit that part of the race where, as Rob talked about, midway point is when we're going to start to see tire wear. And these guys certainly trying to establish some pace to make these cars last and to be fast for 100 full laps.
Yeah, and while you're trying to make it last, you're also trying to keep touch with the leader of this race, Pato O'Ward. So as this gap continues to grow, at some point you're going to have to start using and leaning on those Cooper tires because you can't let Pato get too big of a lead. It's already up to 2 seconds. And Santi Urrutia now not only worried about catching Pato O'Ward, but Colton Herta starting to close in on the rear wing of Santi Urrutia.
It is Pato O'Ward, Santi Urrutia 1-2. Colton Herta runs in third. Ryan Norman fourth. Dalton Kellett fifth. Victor Franzoni sixth. And Aaron Tielitz seventh with 62 laps to go here at Iowa Speedway. Rob Houghton, a year ago, we had an absolute thriller in Indy Lights, and you're with the driver who won that race 1 year ago.
You know, Nick, we talk all about how the Mazda Road to Indy develops these young Verizon IndyCar Series drivers. I'm with Matthias Lace. Matthias, last year, this was a big one for you. You had won the Freedom 100. You come to Iowa, some Brazilian kid, and you win here, too. You go 2 for 2 on the ovals. Talk about that experience first. What was it like last year coming here to Iowa for the first time?
Well, it was awesome. You know, it was my first time in a short oval, and it was a tough race, actually, because I struggled a little bit on qualifying, starting from 10th, And then I was the only guy that figured out that the Highline was working for the lights car. And as soon as I tried, it worked very well. So I managed to pass all the ninth car that was in front of me in like, I don't know, 5-7 laps. And I just led the whole race from there. And it was such a good one. I think it's tough to say, but I think it was on one of my best races ever. So so excited to be here in IndyCar now.
Yeah, you had a really strong season last year in Indy Lights with Carlin. You move up, of course, with AJ Foyt Racing this year. What was the transition like at St. Petersburg? Let's talk about you becoming an IndyCar driver, making that transition from Indy Lights.
Well, has been tough, to be honest. You know, IndyCar is a pretty difficult category, a lot of good drivers, and it's very competitive. So you gotta be 100%, you know. So to the beginning, I struggled a little bit with, you know, just race stuff, pit stop, saving fuel, saving tires. Races are like 2 hours long. Indy Lights race is like 50 minutes, 1 hour. So everything is different, you know. Everything is new. The team is new, the car is new, but I would say that these are like the biggest difference. The car by himself is not that big deal, you know. It's not that big jump for the Lights drivers.
Now, speaking here with Matthias Laced, AJ Foyt Racing driver last year, the winner here in Iowa. Let's now focus on this racetrack. Of course, you come here now as an IndyCar driver for the first time. We talked about the transition just into the car. How about the transition to run Iowa? A little bit tougher, higher top speed for you here.
Yeah, to be honest, this one has been one of the most difficult tracks in IndyCar to me, you know. And we just didn't figure out a great setup for the car. And as everyone knows, this place is very bumpy, so you kind of need to figure out how to set up the car for the bumps, not for the track by itself. But, you know, we've been working hard, we've been learning, and I think it's going to be a great time, a great race today. And I'm starting from the back. Yesterday, I struggled a little bit in qualifying. I crashed in practice one. But, you know, I'm getting there. I think I have a lot of people supporting me. My team has been working very hard. My teammate, you know, Tony Kanaa has been helping me a lot. So I think we're going to get there soon.
Good luck today.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Nick Yeoman, there he is, Matthias Laced. We watched him grow last year. Of course, Michael Young as well down with me here on pit lane many, many times. What a great young kid. He really has taken to the Verizon IndyCar Series.
Yeah, and Michael Young, what a cool partnership with he and Tony Kanaa. They've become more than just teammates. I think we've talked to Tony. He really enjoys mentoring that guy.
And it was interesting. I did an event with a bunch of the drivers, and Matthias was signing autographs for the fans with Ryan Hunter-Reay. And Ryan Hunter-Reay looked down and goes, "How old are you?" And he goes, 19. 19! And it blew Ryan's mind that he was that young. I will say this about Matthias Laced. He's about one of the nicest, most likable drivers we have, and being a rookie in the Verizon IndyCar Series, he will be the next Tony Kanaa and Leo Castro-Neves if he can find success on the racetrack. His personality is just beaming. He's really a great kid to be around.
And Mark James, I think a lot of IndyCar fans were scratching their head when that's the second driver that AJ Foyt hired, when they brought in a guy that can contend for race wins right away like Tony Kanaa. The results have kind of been a mixed bag for Matthias Laced, but there's no doubt at times, especially at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this year, he showed some incredible skill.
It shouldn't be easy, should it, to make that jump? I mean, you know, the cars are very, very similar. Zach Dietz has said that. Matthias Laced has said that, and others. But it shouldn't be easy to make the jump, and there's a learning curve there. I think you look no further than the vote of confidence that Larry and AJ have given everything by announcing very, very early on that both Tony Kanaa and Matthias Laced will be back in 2019. They know that right now, and that makes all the difference in the world for that whole operation moving forward.
Again, a big thank you to Matthias Laced on a busy day as he's set to go racing for 300 laps, the defending winner of this race here at Iowa Speedway, joining Rob Houck. We've reached the halfway point, 48 to go here at Iowa Speedway. The lead for Pato O'Ward continues to be an impressive one. Now 3.8 seconds. He's got nearly the entire backstretch between him and second place running Santi Urrutia. But Jake Query, Urrutia has his hands full as Colton Herta closes to within 2 car lengths out of turn number 4.
Bingo. You get the impression that Colton Herta might be starting to set up Santi Urrutia. That red and white machine, car number 5 of Santi Urrutia, now is the one hugging the bottom line between 1 and 2. And Colton Herta suddenly is able to be a little bit more comfortable in that mid and higher groove. Now between 3 and 4, Herta keeps the car just a little bit lower on the racetrack, Urrutia got just a little bit loose exiting turn number 4. Herta now starting to close right in on that rear wing.
Yeah, pretty interesting to see those drivers kind of swap grooves, whether it be down in turns 1 and 2, and then once they set up for turns 3 and 4. Urrutia will be the first one to dive it into turn 3. He'll hug the inside. Herta gets that nice run off of turn number 4. He'll close within a couple car lengths as they barrel into turn 1.
Kind of get the feeling, don't you, Nick, in watching it, that Colton Herta right now might just have a better feel for being able to control his car regardless of the line in which he's taking. Now, Santi Urrutia enters in between 3 and 4. He goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Herta's able to keep it right in the middle of the track for the entire area coming out of turn number 4.
Urrutia used an absolutely tremendous start at the green flag to jump from 5th to 2nd. He's held that spot for this entire race, but he has his hands full as our championship leader, Colton Herta, continues to stalk him. He'll close within a car length as they race off of turn 4.
Sitting turn number 4 now, Santi Urrutia again with Colton Herta stalking just behind him. Keep in mind, we're starting to enter in to the final 42 laps of this race. Does that mean once we get into that 60 lap range or so that those Cooper tires start to wear off just a little bit and the strategy of how you preserve them comes into play? That's perhaps what Colton Herta is hoping for. He finds himself a car length and a half behind Santi Urrutia, the battle for second.
Michael, it might be the oldest cliche in racing, but it is so true. Catching a guy is one thing. Passing him here at Iowa Speedway is another, and Colton Herta is certainly finding that out.
A handful of laps ago, Colton really closed in on Urrutia, and he's doing it again about a car length behind, but when he gets underneath that rear wing, it just looks like he picks up a ton of understeer. That car will start to wash up, and that gap, which was 1 car length, will go back to 3. So Colton trying to find a way to get back around Santi Urrutia, but as long as Santi runs that low line, I think Colton puts pressure on him, he'll be able to wear those Cooper tires out, Santi Urrutia, but I don't think he's going to get around him as long as Urrutia runs low.
And there's no doubt about it, Mark, as those two continue to battle and try to turn some laps to get ahead of each other. One guy's flat checked out on the field, and that's the driver from Mexico, Pato O'Ward.
Yeah, so if you're Colton Herta, 17-point lead, it would drop down to 3 if it ends this way. You get back to Toronto next week, doubleheader weekend, and again, as we said, much like race number 2 at Road America, I think the maturity of Colton Herta will show here, realizing big picture, championship, and everything that's at stake that goes along with that. If he has an opportunity, I'm sure he will take it. But a podium finish, again, if you go a second and then a third, you end up winning the championship. You might think that those are the days that you actually won the title, not maybe the 4 in a row. This would be a nice way to prop up those 4 in a row and haul in some points for Colton Herta.
Yeah, what a streak, Michael Young, that Colton Herta got on really in the month of June at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course, sweeping those 2 races. He picks up a great win in the Freedom 100, and then at Road America had a pretty solid weekend as well. He's absolutely been on fire.
Just the maturation that last year we saw some mistakes. He wasn't as aggressive as he's been this year, but every time that he has a great finish, I think he has learned, and to Mark's point, running 3rd is not going to be a bad thing. Very Scott Dixon-esque as we were at Elkhart Lake and Road America. Dixon's podium finish did more for his championship than him trying to get around, getting second around Ryan Hunter-Reay. These are the kinds of races that if you really don't have a winning car, just to get that podium, keep those points, that's a sign of a mature driver and somebody that's going to be a contention for a championship.
Pato O'Ward swings that green, white, and red number 27 across the start-finish line. 35 laps to go here at Iowa Speedway in the Mazda Iowa 100. This is the Indy Light Series presented by Cooper Tires on the Advanced Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network. O'Ward is your leader. He has led every lap so far today. The battle for second has been tremendous as lap after lap, Colton Herta has stalked Santi Urrutia. He's about a car length behind as they exit turn 4 on this lap. But those 2 drivers run 2nd and 3rd. Ryan Norman runs in the 4th position. Dalton Kellett runs 5th. Victor Franzoni is 6th. Aaron Tielitz is 7th. Jake Query, your top side, you can see this in entire 7/8 of a mile oval here in Newton, Iowa. That battle for second continues to be a good one. It seems though every time Colton Herta gets to within a couple car lengths, Urrutia steps it up, throws him in the dirty air, and is able to hold off. Those two now race off of turn number 2.
And they do so with Urrutia down to the bottom of the racetrack. Then he washes up exiting turn number 2, stays fairly high entering 3, but goes down now to the low line between 3 and 4. Herta keeps his car in that middle groove and does so exiting turn 4. That allows him to be right in the tracks when Urrutia comes up. But again, Santi Urrutia goes to the bottom of the racetrack exiting turn 2. Colton Herta in that area between 1 and 2, Nick, looks like he starts to close in, but then it's between 2 and 3 where Urrutia is able to get that gap back.
Yeah, Urrutia has that car just hugged to the inside of the racetrack. Colton Herta continues to try to use the momentum of that second groove, use the banking to his advantage to shoot down the back straightaway or the front straightaway. It hasn't been enough so far to get alongside Santi Urrutia, but here he goes again, Jake, to the outside, close to within a car length, exiting 4.
That time, the rear of Colton Herta looked like it might have gotten just a little bit free, but he was not able to close the move. Now he looks a little bit closer entering turn number 2. Urrutia comes up. That puts him right in the actual line of Colton Herta. Herta now going to try to stay to the outside. This is getting closer and closer. Santi Urrutia now through turn number 4. Herta again right behind him. It's only about a half a car length gap, and it looks like Herta's trying to reel him in.
Those two dive into turn number 1. Urrutia has that red and white Velarde Mazda right to the bottom of the racetrack. Herta closes to within a car length, and through turn number 3. He'll dive it in really deep on the bottom as Urrutia washes up. Jake, he's right on the rear wing, taking a look to the inside into turn number 1.
Colton Herta is going to try to figure out whether he wants to go outside or dip to the bottom of Santi Urrutia to make that pass. He literally was side by side exiting 4. It's the 1-2 combo where Urrutia is able to make up ground. But now between 3 and 4, again, Herta middle groove of the racetrack. Urrutia comes up, he shuts the door once again.
And Michael, this is right about the time of the race where those Cooper tires probably not going to feel as fresh as they would have just about 20 laps ago.
And that's what Colton Herta is trying to do right now. He's got to remember, Santi Urrutia is hungry for a good finish, and he will be aggressive as Colton Herta now dives low into turn number 3. Swings high as he washes out into turn number 4. Will lose about 5 car lengths, but that is the key. He's got to put that pressure on Santi Urrutia, but make sure he doesn't put himself in the wall in the meantime, because Santi's going to be pushing hard to keep this second place.
Boy, Herta took his shot down there in turn 3 and got right up underneath the rear wing, and then that car just washed up the racetrack, and he's lost about 4 or 5 car lengths to Urrutia now out of turn number 4, so it's going to take a few laps to gather it back up. 25 to go here at Iowa Speedway. It is still Pato O'Ward now with a 4.2 second lead as we go back to pit lane and check in once again with Rob Howe.
Thank you, Nick. While Colton Herta tries to work his way back up to Santi Urrutia, let's take an opportunity to change with Kyle, talk to Kyle Kimball, the manager of operations for Mazda Motorsports. Kyle, we look up and down the Mazda road to Indy. Lots of great cars in USF 2000. We've got a really good field with the new PM18 and Pro Mazda, a lighter field in Indy Lights, but behind the scenes, people need to know that you guys are really going to work, trying to make sure the future of Indy Lights is still bright.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think anybody who's either listened on IndyCar radio or showed up to a race this year has seen the quality of driving that's in Indy Lights. Yes, we know the field isn't as big as we want it to be, but these guys have raced so hard and so clean and so respectful. And as you noted, Rob, we have a field of incredibly talented racers in USF 2000 and Pro Mazda that are ready to step up into Indy Lights, because there's some guys in Indy Lights right now that we know are ready to step up into IndyCar.
When we talk about how Indy Lights is a feeder of the Verizon IndyCar Series, USF 2000, of course, feeding Pro Mazda and so on, there is so much buzz about USF 2000 right now. Of course, a lot of cars with those Mazda power plants, but the talk about how many new teams and new drivers for next year, we may see 30 cars in USF 2000 in 2019.
And that's kind of always been the goal, right? We want this. And we know it is. It is the only ladder series of its kind in the entire world. If you want to reach the pinnacle of open wheel motorsports in the United States of America, the Verizon IndyCar Series, you have to race here in the Mazda Road to Indy. So we could not be more proud of what the team at Anderson Promotions has put together up and down the road to Indy. We are so happy to work with them and the drivers that we pull in from all across the world who want to see their dream come true, and we are absolutely thrilled to be the gatekeepers of that dream.
Kyle, thanks for the time.
Thank you very much.
Again, guys, Kyle Kimball, manager of operations for Mazda Motorsports. A lot of stuff coming down the pipe, Nick, in terms of doing things to get Indy Lights back to where it needs to be.
Yep, and those Mazda engines absolutely humming around Iowa Speedway. Even on those worn tires, 80 laps in, they're turning laps up around 155 miles per hour here at Iowa Speedway, this 7/8 of a mile oval. It is Pato O'Ward who has led all 82 laps so far. His lead is still a healthy 4 seconds. Jake Query, it took Colton Herta about 5-6 laps. Once again, he is right on that rear wing of Santi Urrutia through 3 and 4.
Entering turn number 4, Urrutia, this is what happens. He goes low between 3 and 4, and Herta stays in the middle groove. Then as he kind of comes up exiting 4, that kind of shuts the door on Herta. The same thing happens now exiting turn number 2. Santi Urrutia with a car length and a half advantage over Colton Herta in the battle for second. Herta really closes in that middle line entering turn 4. Once again, Urrutia is able to hold him off.
And Mark James, there is no doubt this is a great training experience for both of these drivers, as they both have their future hopes set on IndyCar.
Yeah, Colton, every time he tries to go to the bottom of the racetrack, the car doesn't seem to cooperate. Santi, on the other hand, is able to work the bottom of the racetrack. Really good run off of turn number 3, Nick.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Herta's trying to throw it in deep and letting it walk up the racetrack where he can jump on the throttle. It's a 2-car length advantage as they race into turn number 1. Again, Urrutia on the bottom, Herta on the top as they roar off of turn number 2, Jake, and head down the backstretch.
Meanwhile, Pato O'Ward enters into turn number 4, just wanting to keep himself clean and let those two slug it out. It's Santi Urrutia with Colton Herta just behind him. The 4th place runner is Ryan Norman, then behind him Dalton Kellett, Victor Franzoni, and Aaron Tielitz.
14 laps to go here at Iowa Speedway in the Mazda Iowa 100 here on the Advanced Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network. Pato O'Ward is just now 13 clean laps away from another victory this season. It would be his 4th of the season, but all eyes on this great battle for second. Urrutia separated by a car length over Colton Herta, Jake, as they race off of 2.
And as they race off of turn number 2, again, Urrutia is able to get to the middle and high side just a little bit faster. Now between 3 and 4, same thing. He goes down to the bottom. Herta sticks it to that middle groove. But again, Urrutia is able to wash himself up just early enough to close the door on Herta. Between now turns 1 and 2 is where they go. Again, Herta trying every single look to the outside, Nick, but not able to get by.
Herta uses that outside line so well. He has all day long, but he just can't get the aerodynamics to work well enough to find the horsepower off of turn number 4. The distance is a half a car length. He took a look, Jake. They've nearly made contact in 1 as Herta washes back up the racetrack at a 2.
I'll tell you what, Santi Urrutia is creating all kinds of air for Colton Herta, disrupting him. Now Herta is able, again, stick it to the middle of the racetrack. Now he is right on the rear wing. They're keeping the same line out of turn number 4.
And there's no doubt, Michael Young, that Santi Urrutia can do certain things in that racetrack to disrupt that air to make it super tough at a place like Iowa.
The only chance I think Colton Herta is going to have is he's got to get high on Santi Urrutia in turns 3 and 4, and then dive low as soon as they exit the turn. Get that run up that rear wing. He tried it last time by, and then he washed back up. I really think that's his only opportunity because Santi's protecting that low line. If Colton can stay high, swing that momentum out of 4, I think he'll have an opportunity to get around.
And Mark James, he's got to do all of that while keeping in mind that he's running for a points championship with 9 to go.
Sure, let's not forget the first 15, 20 laps of the race. Urrutia was the guy running the high line, so he just might have a little more grip in his Cooper tires than Colton Herta. And at that time, Santi Urrutia uses the higher line through 1 and 2. He shuts the door on Colton Herta.
You have no doubt about it. Urrutia, the driver from Uruguay, making that red and white car awful wide. Herta gets a nice run off of turn 4. He's within a car length, Jake, at the start-finish line. 7 to go here at Iowa.
When Urrutia comes off the bottom line into the upper groove entering turn number 4, that is what is causing him to shut the door on Herta. But eventually, he's going to run out of real estate. Now Herta is finally going to go to the bottom side between 3 and 4. Colton Herta is able to make the pass. Santi Urrutia falls to 3rd.
Oh, he pulled off the old-fashioned Midwestern slide job. Now Urrutia is going to look back to the inside. They go wheel to wheel through turn number 1. It gets awful tight off of 2. Herta has the advantage on the outside line. He'll shoot down the back straightaway in 2nd.
It looked like Santi Urrutia was going to take that spot back, but Herta was able to close that door. Now extends a little bit. So put Colton Herta to second, then it's Urrutia, then Ryan Norman, a very interested spectator should something have happened to those two, but they now are all single file running 2, 3, and 4.
Boy, Michael, he got close. Herta did entering 3 and just threw it up the inside. That was a great pass.
I think he surprised Santi Urrutia. He got such a great run, talking about Colton Herta out of turn number 2, that I think Santi was going to look low, and Colton was already there by the time they entered turn number 3. That was a textbook pass by Colton Herta. And boy, Santi did a good job keeping it under control. He dove in deep into turn number 1, nearly collected the both of them, but Colton able to run a little bit quicker on that outside line.
And that pass was worth 5 points as Herta's lead went from 3 in the championship back up to 8. So every pass, every position matters here in the Indy Lights Series presented by Cooper Tires. Meanwhile, he's kind of been the forgotten man because of this great battle for second, but what a day for Pato O'Ward, who works his way off of turn number 4. He's going to see 2 to go, Jake Query, as he runs across the start-finish line.
Boy, there has been so much activity behind Pato O'Ward that we hardly have talked about and commended just how clean he has been. He got a fantastic jump to start this race. He exits now turn number 2, works his way up and setting up into turn number 3. Herta is actually within view, and if this race was 25% longer, might actually have a shot. But Pato O'Ward sees the white flag, Nick.
Yep, no doubt about it. After Herta got around Urrutia, he's gapped him by about 20 or 25 car lengths on the front straightaway. But nobody has had anything for the driver from Mexico with 3 wins already this season. He's going to match Colton Herta, winning his 4th race. Here he comes out of turn number 4. Pato O'Ward leads flag to flag. He'll see the twin checkered and win the Mazda Iowa 100 here at the Iowa Speedway. His 4th win of the season as he'll go to victory lane. Pato O'Ward here at Iowa Speedway. Andretti Autosport will sweep the top 2 spots as the Steinbrenner entry for Colton Herta picks up a well-earned 2nd position. Santi Urrutia holds on for 3rd. Ryan Norman comes home in the 4th spot. Dalton Kellett 5th. Victor Franzoni finishes 6th here at Iowa, and Aaron Telitz in 7th.
Pato, a huge win for you here at Iowa Speedway. You won earlier in the year. Your teammate Colton Herta goes on a run. This was crucial for you to get back into the winner's circle.
It was. I mean, and it wasn't a matter of, I don't have the speed. It was just we've had some bad luck the past couple races, and I was ready to turn it around. We got snowplowed twice in 2 of the past few races, and I want to win. I'm here to win. I'm not here to be 2nd. I'm not here to be 3rd. As everybody here, we're here to win. So I capitalized today, got the pole, got the win, and I'm definitely going to be going forward in Toronto, Mid-Ohio to close that championship lead and then get that lead and extend it.
You came out of the gate strong here at Iowa, though. Not only did you take the lead, you kind of ran away. It seemed like you had a perfect race car.
Yeah, the car was just absolutely awesome. There was nothing wrong about it. So I got to give it big thanks to the 27 crew, especially my engineer, Mark. He put it on point, but it's up to me to do the job, and we work perfectly together, and we are excited for the coming ones.
Yeah, doubleheader in Toronto. The momentum you get here in Iowa, that's definitely going to pay off if we get to the streets.
Oh, definitely, and it's a track where I'm really, really fast at. It's a track that I enjoy. It's a track where I've been successful at, so and I'm looking forward to that weekend, and hopefully I get a nice sweep there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.